Here, quick right-handers, 3 of them there are, and they are really, and Jorge Lorenzo, past master at making that entry turn into that first one of the rights. I love that set of corners.
He brings corner speed, and Rossi's looking at Iannone, got him, 3rd place.
Yeah, Iannone looking straight back again and underneath him again though, and I wouldn't be surprised if that Ducati didn't have the pace, but Rossi's forced him out wide this time.
Room underneath? Don't think so.
Well, yeah, but we're coming to turn 16 and onto the front straight, and you watch that Ducati now power up to the side of Rossi. Certainly got the performance, but just strike past. That's going to really upset the Yamaha boys, isn't it? Into the braking area. The 2 Ducatis, here's the 2 Repsol Hondas languishing, I have to say.
4 seconds behind that group.
And it is Pedrosa still on Marquez, looking back to the Suzuki. Good for the Suzuki. Aleix Espargaro in 11th place.
Who's the top open class? Nicky Hayden in 14th.
Nicky Hayden, yeah. He put a soft rear tyre in that, though, so I wonder if that's going to last the entire distance. He put a softie in the back.
Here's Marquez taking his teammate.
Had to happen. But I've got to say...
Took a while.
Yeah, but that might be good for Dani Pedrosa. Dani Pedrosa has had good pace all weekend, and I don't think Marquez has been the better of Pedrosa this week so far, not noticeably anyway.
And another cheer for Yoni Hernandez, who is still hanging on to those factory Hondas just there with Bradley Smith behind him.
Yeah, Bradley Smith still in 8th place, Cal Crutchlow in 9th place. He did away with Paul Espargaro some time ago. The Suzuki of Aleix Espargaro 11th. Scott Redding on the factory LCR Honda in 12th place. Petrucci 13th, Hayden 14th. Last point going to Bradle on the forward Yamaha in 15th place. Eugene Laverty in 19th, still getting used to that bike. And he said earlier, he's got to catch up on the...
But both Eugene and Maverick Vinales seem to drop to the bottom of the timing screens for some reason we didn't see, Keith, in vision.
Good to get a race distance under his belt, Eugene. He's a proper racer.
Oh, he's done a cracking job.
Lorenzo, the Vizioso. Here comes Valentino up the inside. A Yamaha 1-2. Does he run wide? Yes, he does. The Vizioso forces him a little wider as they come out onto turn 16 in the front straight here. And we know Dobby's going to drive away on that Ducati. We saw it already. The Yamaha can't even live in the slipstream, Julian.
Can't get out the corner like the Duke, can it?
Ducati down that front straight is a weapon, isn't it? And I tell you, they don't look like there's any tyre degradation on that thing of the Viziosos to me at the moment. The tyre management compared with last year of the Ducati looking very good. That GP15, they have put such a lot of effort into it.
The first thing Dovizioso said when we got here, his first comment, I am very happy I am fast on used tyres as well as new ones. So he was predicting this.
And it turns in. That must be nice.
Yeah, big change.
Marquez then closes a little bit of a gap up to Iannone. Half a tenth, and they're a long way back at the moment. These are your front 4 in the opening MotoGP race of 2015. It is a Ducati that is really nailing it to them. Wow, who would have said that? So Dovizioso chases Jorge Lorenzo. Valentino Rossi still 3rd, still 4th. Andrea Iannone. Yamaha versus Ducati with the 2 Hondas back in 5th and 6th.
When will we learn that motorcycle racing is never as predictable as you think it should be at the start of a season? We forget so quickly. Oh yeah, it's obviously going to be a Honda walkaway, this, isn't it? We all nod in the hire car and go, yeah, nothing else can happen. And they are a distant
the big question.
6th.
The big question was whether they could make the transition from the soft tyre that they used to qualify in pole position in Dovizioso's case to the medium tyre for the race, whether that would work for them over race trim, race distance, full tank. And here is the answer.
And if you're going to charge back from a bad position, you must be aware this is a fuel-heavy track. The software is not going to allow you to guzzle all your gas.
Onto the front straight again then. 0.6 of a mile, over a kilometre to the other end of it. 65 mile an hour or thereabouts onto the straight, 65 mile an hour thereabouts off the straight, and up to 205 mile an hour along it.
You see the speed differential?
Ooh, there he goes, Dovizioso. He's using his speed differential, Julian. That's
rather well, I'd say.
I'll tell you what, though, you watch the way Jorge Lorenzo turns that Yamaha. He still seems to make it work really well. When we get round to those 3 right round the back of the track, he's just so good round there.
Turns 11, 12, 13 are they, or 12, 13, 14?
He's out on the 12, 13, 14 before that long 15 that we see. Meanwhile, has gone back in front, Jorge Lorenzo. No, he hasn't, sorry.
Rossi's crew looking, there's some tension in there, I'd say.
It's the BT box.
Yep, Matteo, Uccio.
And we're on board with Cal Crutchlow now. So Cal Crutchlow, we're with Crutchlow in 9th place at the moment, chasing fellow Brit Bradley Smith, who's a long way up the road.
Second, just over.
Marquez improves a little bit on Iannone again. Here we go then. It is the two Brits stuck together. Bradley Smith and the 35 of the LCR shod. Brand spanking new factory Honda of Cal Crutchlow chases the slightly, I won't say aging because it's had its upgrades, but the 38 of Bradley Smith. Bradley Smith putting in a great ride considering it really has been a difficult week for him.
Very difficult. And Hernandez is still in front of the pair of them.
I think they're going to catch him. I think Hernandez is going to be done by the two Brits. Oh, Jorge Lorenzo right out to the edge of the curb there, nearly on the AstroTurf. That's as far as the paintwork will allow.
Are you seeing any degradation in the performance of the Ducati? I mean, I certainly can't.
No, I can't see anything either. I think the Ducati is performing better than we've ever seen. It's certainly in a straight line.
We've seen that before, as demonstrated. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always been good on fuel as well.
They're very clever with the fuel.
Oh, a little wide there. So you're going to arrive there at a few more miles an hour. That means you're going to have to brake just that yard earlier, perhaps, and or run on a bit.
Now Valentino's chance.
I suppose at the end of the day, it's whether we'll have to keep an eye on whether that Ducati can make the pass before the finish line. That's what's going to be crucial here. Can Dovi make the pass on whoever is in front by the line?
So far, Keith, no.
No, I was going to say, I think it is very, very tight. I think the Yamaha turns real well out of the corner. Gigi Dell'Igna, then the man that heads the Ducati development. He was of Aprilia. He came across with a few ideas, I'm sure, and probably a little notebook that helped Ducati in their development. And really, as Colin Wright, the famous team manager from Great Britain, who once said to me that there's no I in team, so it can't all be down to Dell'Igna, but certainly his management and his focus has brought the Ducati on during the last year of development.
Yes, man management as well as his own engineering skills, quite. Rossi is now looking extremely enthusiastic in 3rd place. The one thing I didn't think we were going to see was a Yamaha 1-2 here today.
No, I didn't either, I must say.
And you're starting to feel a bit that way.
I'm starting to think now about with concessionary rulings and stuff like that. If Ducati actually managed to win this, of course, they start losing. Do they lose their soft tyre option?
No, the first thing that will happen with 3 Rostrums is they lose
fuel,
the extra 2 litres of gas.
That's true.
And Ducati say that's the one thing they're absolutely, completely not
worried about. Indeed. So then, Jorge Lorenzo still leads this race. Andrea Dovizioso right behind him. Valentino Rossi next up, and then it is Dovizioso's teammate Andrea Iannone that comes on to the front straight in 4th place. Let's take a look now at the Ducati versus Yamaha.
Over the line, Lorenzo leads by a 10th.
And I think that we've already established that I don't think that Ducati can quite get to the side of it by the line. So if Yamaha leads onto that front straight,
unless, of course, Andrea has got a little cunning plan up his sleeve.
Yeah, who knows, because he is, like we've already repeated several times, a bit of a thinking man's rider.
Indeed.
Or woman's rider. 7 laps to go.
Rider.
There you go, to be politically correct, which I never am.
No, just succinct.
Marquez, Pedrosa, 5th and 6th, making very little inroads indeed to these front 4. What a turn up for the books for the opening Grand Prix of the year.
Isn't it interesting? As you say, their pace is
nowhere near what I thought it would be.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have said this early.
No, I mean overall, you know, maybe that was the fuel consumption was turned up to 11 for qualifying. I don't know. Just a thought. Are conditions that different?
No, I just can't see that personally. There must be a reason though, Julian, so you can speculate away.
I'm searching for it.
We're certainly going to find out afterwards. Don't forget, Checkered Flag comes up after this with Ewan Thomas, and certainly we'll be looking to try and find out some of the detail regarding the Repsol Honda performance. After this show, you will be getting Checkered Flag with all the details. 1 hour wrap of the MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3 sessions today at the Qatar Grand Prix here just outside Doha. Lorenzo leads, Andrea Dovizioso in second place, Valentino Rossi in third place, fourth is Andrea Iannone, and trying to close that gap, Marc Marquez, the defending world champion, from his teammate Danny Pedrosa in fifth and sixth. Yoni Hernandez still holds Bradley Smith and Cal Crutchlow in eighth and ninth places. Back onto the start and finish straight we go then. Half a mile up this straight is the line. It is 0.6 of a mile to the end of the straight, and that's about the point at which the Ducati catches the Yamaha, which is not in time.
Just not in time. Iannone's starting to lose touch, dare I say, with the top three, but he's still got over 3 seconds of tarmac behind him before Marc Marquez, who is a little bit quicker. What did Marquez do last time? 55.9. Again, identical to Lorenzo.
Cal Crutchlow we're looking at now, the 35 in front of Hernandez, so he's made up to 7th place. We thought he'd catch Hernandez. He has caught and passed him. He's caught and passed Bradley Smith. Paul Espargaro, Bradley Smith's teammate, is now on the case. The 44 at the back of this bunch is Paul Espargaro.
Bradley needs to keep him behind him.
He does really, but I have to say that he's looking pretty angry, Espargaro at the moment. There is Paul Espargaro.
The lead of the Open competition has changed. Hector Barbera has just gone past Nicky Hayden.
And there is Aleix Espargaro in the background as well, that's dropping off the pace a little bit on the Suzuki. Right, back at the front. My question, Julian, what has Valentino got up his sleeve? He looks to me like a man that's very comfortable sat there in third place at the moment. Doesn't look like he wants to show his hand. Perhaps he's got something until the end of this race. There he goes! Oh! Into those fast right-handers. He can't quite do what Jorge seems to be able to do into that one. Turns 12, 13, 14, they are frighteningly fourth gear fast, and then we've got 15 that we're coming to now, which is another quick old turn, but into turn 12 Jorge seems to have the pace to make the pass. Valentino not quite. Last corner on the track, turn 16, we have 5 laps to go in half a mile's time as they head to the line.
This has gone quickly, hasn't it?
It's enthralling, isn't it? It's one of those races. Who's it going to be? Yamaha or Ducati? Honda are out of it, I think.
Yeah, Rossi in just the right position to get a slipstream.
Dovi drives around the outside and runs wide, very, very wide. Through comes Valentino. He won't need an invitation when the door's that wide open.
That time, Dovi got to the line first by only 5 1,000ths of a second, but promptly ran wide at turn 1.
Yeah, he did, and then Valentino stuck his nose in there for a moment, but then Dovi got it back. Oh, they're all over the dirt as well now. What's the distance back to Marquez? Is Marquez making some headway?
2.9 seconds. He did a 56.1. Dovi did a 56.2.
Let's have a look at this. Dovi then fastest man up into turn 1, runs it a bit, just backs it in a bit too much, runs it a bit wide. Through goes Jorge, no problem. Valentino goes for the apex, but gets out Dovi by turn 2. Oh, he's going to have him this time though. Valentino looking at it again. He's looking a bit racy now, Valentino. He's obviously got some pace that's more than what we're seeing. I think Valentino has he's been quite comfy back in third place. He's beginning to get a bit fidgety with 4.5 laps.
Needs to make a move if he wants to win it, are you saying?
I think he's got the pace to make that win. I tell you what, there's a couple of kids on the crew here that are going to make a bob or two if Valentino makes this work.
Now it's illegal in this part of the world.
Might be. Maybe the betting was back in the UK.
I sincerely hope so. Bradley Smith has now gone past Yoni Hernandez.
2.6 back from Iannone to Marquez. Marquez is making a bit of a move now. He's beginning to close it in. Let's have a look. 2.6 is now down to 2.5. So Marc Marquez with 4 and a bit laps left to go.
I still don't think that's possible, Keith. My mathematics says no.
Well, I suppose it depends on how much this lot trip over each other.
And Iannone is
fading
back
just
a little bit.
Exactly that. I think that's the reason rather than the front 3. I think that Iannone is falling off the back of this. Right then, by the line, looks to me like the Ducati's got the pace. Did he make it over the line?
No, Lorenzo.
Yeah, every time. So Tester's proved that Lorenzo, if he leads out of that last corner, and again Dovi runs really, really wide, but this time I think he's got it covered as we get down to turn 2. This is a corner that's been look at the sweat. I tell you what, that's the most worried I've seen Gigi Dall'Igna look since the olden days. There is Lynn Jarvis of Yamaha. Always looks like
Rossi on Lorenzo. That was coming.
It had to come at some stage. He knows he can't let Dovi get away with this. Maybe Dovi got a bit more up his sleeve than we were seeing as well. We can only guess. We can only speculate what a battle this is. Ducati versus Yamaha.
Who'd have thought it?
Where's the Honda? still. 2.5 seconds off between Iannone in fourth and Marquez in fifth. Pedrosa still sixth. So, Dovi, Rossi, Lorenzo, Iannone. It's a three-way face. It's a three-way race even. The face-off is not bad. Dovi back in front from Valentino Rossi. Rossi looking pretty racy now. He's going to look to try and make the pace and get by. And I think he's going to try and make a break for this, you know. I've got the feeling Valentino feels he has the pace to get past and make the break.
He doesn't want a drag race out of the last corner.
Here he goes. Valentino Rossi hits the front for the first time. Valet goes through, and through comes Dovi again. We've got a race. It's Yamaha versus... How many times do we see Valentino in this kind of race, in this track?
As Iannone now woken up as well as on Lorenzo's case.
Everybody's at it.
Marquez, 55.8 last time round, 0.4 quicker than the guys in front of him who were tripping each other up.
Red and blue, red and blue. Will there be a bit of orange joining us soon as well? Marquez closing up with 3 and a bit laps left to go as we come onto the straight now. They head for 3 laps to go as they come to the line. Dovizioso leads. Valentino Rossi, what is he made of? 36 back in January, 36 years old, 9 times a world champion. He looks absolutely the skinniest man out there, and through has come Dovizioso as well into third place as well, over Jorge Lorenzo as Marquez closes it down.
Surely what Rossi knows is if he lets Dovi lead or be a length or two behind him out of that last corner, it's over. He must get in front of Dovi at a place where he can gap him.
I think he can. Valentino Rossi's look real good out of those 3, 12, 13, 14, those fourth gear right-handers. So we'll wait and see. All the speculation. Everyone's on the edge of the sofa at home. I'd be behind it. It'd be slightly scary to watch. Again, Valentino just breaking away, these two now from third and fourth places as we look at Iannone driving past Jorge Lorenzo for third place. Ducati's on the podium. Both of the factory Ducatis on the podium. What would that do? Here comes Valentino.
Whoa.
Whizzes through. Does he keep it down? No, he doesn't. Dovizioso one more time forces his way back under. I'll tell you what.
Calm, isn't he?
Goes to show you how close these two are matched, doesn't it? This time, though, he's got it covered and he's pulled it to the curb. Valentino Rossi, through those right-handers I'm talking about, he finally got it done at 12. 13 we're on now. Then it's 14.
He's not getting rid of him, though, is he?
I don't think he will through here, but it's all about getting onto that front straight. Now we're going to get a real test of who manages to make the line. After we're through 15 now, up to the last corner we come, into 16 it will be, in the braking area now, pulls it down to 65 miles an hour. The Yamaha will be first onto the front straight, but where will Dovizioso go with the flying Ducati? Into the slipstream now, past him he comes. Does he make it by the line? He does. So, even if Valentino leads onto the front straight, Dovizioso can actually make it over the line. 2 laps to go. Valentino goes through. A little mistake again for Dovizioso. He can't quite get that Ducati stopped by turn 1, but certainly knows how to get past by turn 2. Watch for Valet looking for the inside. They almost touch. Back tyre to front tyre. Through comes Valentino. Oh, we've got a dogfight. It is the Yamaha versus Ducati. 2 of the most skilled men on that racetrack in MotoGP terms is Valentino Rossi. 7 times a MotoGP world champion, 9 times in total a world champion, 36 years old. The Italian is nothing short of a god to many. And Andrea Dovizioso is no mug on the Ducati.
Absolutely. The thought occurs to me that Iannone's never had a rostrum in Moto Grand Prix.
That's a hell of a thought. Ducati had 2 people on the podium.
Bayliss and Loris Capirossi at some point in time, I assume.
Back a while, that's for certain. Valentino Rossi's got to make the break, and he realises that. Valentino Rossi's got to make 1.5 laps as fast as he possibly can. If he can make a break on Dovizioso and lead by enough coming out of turn 16, can he hold it to the line?
But Dovi knows he hasn't got to force past. He can just get up to his back wheel.
Right now he can't live with him, Julian. That's my point. Valentino's pulled the pin, for using an old analogy.
An old phrase, and a good one.
Certainly seems to work. Right then, turn 12, 13, 14. These right-handers... In fact, we're not quite... wait for it. Oh, that's a great camera. Let's stick with that one for the minute, shall we? Into the braking area now. This will be it. Valentino Rossi. Onto the front straight then. That's a big lead. Can Dovizioso close it down? He will do by the end of the straight, but I don't think it'll be enough. Look at Valentino holding the line. Dovizioso goes through, but he's got to make the break. And I've got to say that Dovizioso runs wide every time into this corner. That was almost disaster then, because we know that Dovizioso can't pull it down tight. Valentino's got it into turn 1. We're at turn 2 now. Count them off, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 9-time world champion, 7 times MotoGP champion that leads Andrea Dovizioso on the brand new GP15 Ducati. I reckon Valentino knows the way around this part of the track to try and hold Dovizioso at bay. It's all about whether the Duke has the steam to get past the Yamaha by the line.
That last time round, Keith, Rossi was first to the line by 0.03 of a second.
This could be one of the closest Grand Prix finishes we've ever seen. Gigi Dall'Igna.
The boss is in.
He is indeed. Alongside Gigi. While we watch 46, Valentino Rossi. What a legend this man is. Can he do it for Yamaha? Yamaha looked out of this through free practice and, of course, through qualifying. I am stunned by what they've achieved between qualifying and race trim. They obviously concentrated through the week on their race trim, and hasn't it paid off? The opposite could be said for the 2 Repsol Hondas, who are still back in 5th and 6th. We've almost forgotten about them.
I'm stunned by what Ducati have achieved since Sepang 2.
That's the first time they got the GP15 out, so that's the first time the public appearance of this GP15 35 days ago. Andrea Dovizioso got a chance to ride this thing. Now he's going to try and ride it for victory. We're into the last corners. It's down towards turn 16. Valentino Rossi leads this race right now from Andrea Dovizioso. Is Andrea Dovizioso going to thwart Valentino Rossi at the line? Valentino Rossi leads for the last time onto the last lap. Will the Ducati make it to the line? I don't think so. Valentino Rossi is the victor at the Qatari Grand Prix, and Yamaha celebrate on the wall. A magnificent result for Yamaha, unexpected possibly for Yamaha, but equally dramatic, equally exceptional was Ducati's performance on the new 2015 Ducati. Iannone gets 3rd, so we've got Ducati 2nd and 3rd, Lorenzo 4th, Marquez 5th, Pedrosa 6th, Cal Crutchlow in 7th place, Bradley Smith is in 8th place, Paul Espargaro, his teammate, in 9th, Hernandez gets 10th, Alicia Espargaro on the debut of the new Ducati this year finishes in 11th place. Suzuki, sorry. Petrucci getting excited now. Petrucci 12th. Scott Redding gets points in 13th place. Maverick Vinales in 14th. And of course, back in 15th, the last place, Hector Barbera gets a point.
Abraham and Miller went down in a heap on the last lap.
Well,
Andrea Dovizioso set his fastest lap of the race last time round, 55.4. Rossi had to do 55.3 on the last lap to beat him.
Look how happy Ducati are. Paolo Ducati in there. Oh, and I'll tell you what, hats off to Ducati. There's Uccio, best friend of Valentino Rossi, with Silvano Galbachera, crew chief, of course, for Valentino Rossi now. That is a massive, massive win at the beginning of this year. We are seeing more and more history being made by Valentino Rossi. He closes in on Giacomo Agostini's record of Grand Prix wins in an era when it's probably more difficult to get them, if I may be slightly disrespectful. I don't mean to be, of course.
I don't think that's disrespectful at all.
The point is that nowadays it's very, very tough. There's so many quick motorbikes out there now. A one-handed wheelie from Valentino Rossi, the victor in Qatar. Wow, celebrations into the night, Julian, for Yamaha.
Rossi's 109th Grand Prix victory up against Ao's 22. We didn't think we'd see that.
I have to say, not at all. These were the men that I thought had the pace for race pace. 93 Marquez vanquished in the early Grand Prix. I'm astounded. I have no idea where Yamaha found that performance from free practice and qualifying to the race. Right, let's go down the pit lane then. Yamaha's Lynn Jarvis. He must have a smile on his face, surely.
Lynn, you've done this many, many times. Does he get better? What is that about? That was the most amazing race I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's Valentino Rossi at his best. You know, sensational to come back from, where was he in the beginning? In 8th place, I think. And choice of tyre paid off at the end, but, it's mainly about heart and what you got down there. So, you know, he did incredibly well.
He's got the biggest heart, he's got the biggest bits down there. He is unbelievable. And it's a team effort. You guys worked on the race setup so hard. You must be so proud of everybody.
Yeah, really. I mean, the great guys did a great job, and we weren't panicking. We had some trouble, but step by step they're working on everything. I'm sorry for Jorge to not be on the podium. But anyway, win is a win, so we'll take it.
You're going to enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, there may not be a huge crowd here in Qatar for MotoGP racing. That is a shame, because they have missed out on seeing firsthand an absolutely stunning performance from Yamaha to come back from where they were in free practice and qualifying. But look at the celebrations from Ducati as well. Second and third, Julian.
And the top open bike just came in as well. That's a Ducati.
Well, Repsol Honda vanquished well and truly.
That's the story. That is the story, isn't it? And a queue of well-wishers from every team for Valentino.
How does this man always do it? How does he always manage to pull that off? You know, his 250th Grand Prix win, where was that? Was that Phillip Island?
Republic.
Phillip Island, was it?
Its first win.
No, 250th Grand Prix win, I think. He writes history as he goes along. He seems to hit those points, doesn't he? Is my point. The 100th, the 250th. It's like someone's writing a book that he's actually scripted to.
That's always my line. Who writes his scripts?
Look at the man there, 93. That's a great shot from Marc Marquez, sitting back in the pits, watching all this going on where he would normally expect to be in Parc Ferme, celebrating with his team, jumping into the arms of the Repsol Honda team. And he'll be sobbing into the arms of the Repsol Honda team after this.
And Andrea Dovizioso, he wanted to win, but that team are acting like they've won as well.
Davide Todozzi to the left-hand side. You can just see the ex-World Superbike World title holder as well. Team
contender.
Uccio straight on there. Silvano Galbashara, the man who came in, replaced Jeremy Burgess as team crew chief, somewhat messily done a couple of winters ago, but obviously the new man. Whoops, we apologise for anything that you might have heard there. Another bit of agricultural description of the start.
Indeed.
Well, it didn't really matter, did it? Because the finish was the one that counted.
And Andrea Iannone, on the other factory Ducati, gets his first Moto Grand Prix rostrum in his first ride as a true factory rider.
Magnificent is all I can say, Jules. Magnificent.
Dovi.
It was a duel in the desert.
It was a proper duel, Keith. A proper duel. And for Ducati, Gigi Dall'Igna's team to have achieved what they've done.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely, I do. Well, Gigi Dall'Igna, he's looked a little smug this week, I've got to say, because the Ducati's performed particularly well, but I bet he's got a massive smile on his face now, Gav.
He does have a smile on his face, and I think every reason. That was an unbelievable race. I know you didn't win it, but to have two Ducatis on the podium after, 7 days of riding this bike, what does that mean to you and the whole of Ducati?
Yeah, you know, I'm quite happy, but not really happy, because when I can win and I don't, you know, I cannot be really happy. Anyway, we have two bikes on the podium, for sure, after 5-6 days of practice, because the bike is completely new, so this is the demonstration of the technology that Ducati have, so I'm really happy for that.
Andrea was saying, in the race we'll find what the real potential is. I think we've seen it. That bike can race, can't it?
Yeah. Hey, you know, but anyway, the next circuit could be different for us. We don't know. But anyway, you know, I enjoyed this day.
Well, we all did as well. You go and enjoy even further, Gigi. Thank you.
The mark of a winner, of course, is a man who's not satisfied with second place. So Gigi Dall'Igna, absolutely, we understand exactly what you're on about. It's not. It's just a disappointment of being that close to a win, I suppose. That would have been remarkable in itself, but I still think second and third for that new motorcycle on the grid at a Grand Prix is just a little special. Let's get down then to hear from Andrea.
Well, Dolly, first you had to fight with Jorge Lorenzo, then you had Valentino Rossi. I think one of the best races ever. You must be tired.
Yes, he's really happy to come back and fight for the victory. And in the last few laps, in the last lap, I pushed really hard, over 100% in the last lap. I made a really good lap time, but I didn't have any more grip on the edge, and it was impossible to try to attack Valentino, he was really strong in the braking, but in the first part of the acceleration, he was better. And anyway, second position the first race is really good. Thank you to the team, really.
Thank you very much, Dobby.
His fellow countryman then coming up to the podium. Valentino Rossi, the legend continues. It's absolutely remarkable, isn't it, as he plays to the crowd. This man is a god in what it means to be.
Well, Valentino, you won the first race of 2015. A difficult start, but then I think one of the best ever fights in your career.
Yeah, you know, I said this a lot of times, but for me this is one of the best, because after the bad start I recovered a lot. We did a very great job during the practice and my bike was fantastic, and step by step I arrived there. I try to don't give up. The bike move everywhere, but after with the two Ducatis and with the Jorge was difficult, but in some places I was very strong, very good in the line, and I'm so happy for me, for my team, for Yamaha, for all the guys that are with me. Ciao.
Thanks, Valentino.
You're a very special man, there is no doubt about that. If I sound like I've got adulation coming out of my ear holes, I have, because that Yamaha was nowhere at the beginning of this week and he's managed to make it work. And you can find out all the very latest from the rear end of pit lane, if you understand me, the other side of the garages, the checkered flag at 8 p.m. here on BT Sport with Ewan Thomas, who is breathless in pit lane at the moment, picking up the latest news that he can. And we've got 1 hour of show coming up after this show. It's called Checkered Flag. It's on at 8 o'clock. And with a bit of luck, we'll be hearing from the inside of the Movistar Yamaha camp and all the very latest from them. How did they do it? But they did. Let's have a look at the final results. Valentino Rossi, Andrea Dovizioso, Andrea Iannone, two Ducatis. Shotgunning Valentino Rossi home. All Italian, yeah, that's a very good point. Julian putting his finger on the monitor here. And the Italian top three, fantastic. Look down the order. Scott Redding getting some points in 13th place.
Top Brit, Keith, was Crutchlow in 7th, half a second ahead of Smith.
Well, Bradley Smith has had a hard week. Crutchlow had a poor qualifying, slinging it up the road. So really that's the two Brits getting solid points, I think we can say from that, with not a great qualifying situation.
Bradley's first points of this track as well in Motor Grand Prix. That'll be a relief.
Certainly a relief after last year, if we remember the helicopter crash that he had during the course of that.
The question for you, Keith, at 36 years old,
I know.
I wonder where Valentino gets his motivation from.
It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? So Valentino Rossi starts 2015 as he means to go on. Yamaha are on top again, Craig.
And the excitement for all MotoGP fans here and across the world, and of course everyone watching BT Sport, is there seems to be a bit of a sea change here. Let's not forget, you know, we saw the Hondas up there in the front two rows of the grid. We thought they might do something. Didn't feature at all in the podium today. No Spaniard taking the top spot in the podium. Ducati looking like they're a consistent bike, good riders, and Yamaha doing the do when it comes to the race. All these things make for a hugely exciting season ahead.
Well, you know, Mark is making the mistake on the first corner. That was a disaster. It only took him 11 laps to get back to 5th place, but unfortunately the first 5 guys were too far advanced. But what about the Yamahas to qualify in the second and third rows and to stick it with the Ducatis through all the race? And then obviously Valentino Rossi coming across the line in first place for a record 109 victories. We're just amongst all the crazy Italians at the moment, and you know, 36 years old. We can't say enough about the guy, and it keeps everything going. MotoGP is so popular because of Valentino Rossi, and to still be here at that age is a credit to himself.
And the scenes here are absolutely wonderful. You've got all the teams, all the families, all hugging each other. Lots of yellow, lots of 46 on people's backs. But up in the stand as well, every time Rossi made a move, huge cheers. It was a really massive event, and this little kid here, he'll say, I was there there when Rossi won.
The biggest thing Yamaha did today was choose the medium tyre. They could not break 36 seconds. 56, around this circuit yesterday. They chose a medium tyre and they dropped into the 55s, and that was what they won them the race today.
Well, let's sit back and enjoy what's sure to be an absolutely wonderful podium.
Well, we can hardly hear ourselves think here in the commentary box, and we're soundproofed, Julian. I thought that was so that we didn't drown out anybody else. But Andrea Iannone comes to the podium. Ducati not quite victorious, but look at that, either side of the podium to the legend.
I don't think anybody on this podium is more pleased than anybody else. All three have every right to be completely ecstatic. Iannone with his first rostrum, Dovi nearly won it, and Rossi his 197th podium, Keith.
All Italian podium as Silvano Gabashera picks up the manufacturer's trophy. All Italian. Last time that was done in Japan, 2006.
Blimey. And I can see the Italian sports papers now.
Oh,
look at Iannone.
on a day.
Buzzing, isn't he? Full works rider and a rostrum first time out on a brand new motorcycle.
It's a special day, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you've tuned in and enjoyed it all today with us here on BT Sport. Remember, 8 o'clock, you can see the checker flag programme with Ewan Thomas. They'll be getting underneath all of this.
Vito Ippolito handing out the trophy. Dovi does not look like a man who's come a close second, does he? You can hear the Ducati mechanics again chorusing Dovi, Dovi down under the rostrum. But now the Master of Ceremonies will take over.
Alex Briggs there.
Bernie on the right,
yeah.
long-time mechanic.
Working along here. I mean, they've been with him a long time. What an emotional moment we're about to have. The small crowd that's here is all opposite this podium, and you can hear them. There is no man like Valentino Rossi, and he's got the pearl in the air.
Where does his motivation come from?
His heart.
Where?
He's got the biggest heart of any man on the grid.
Wow.
That's a good word, Jules.
Wow.
And not underused in this case.
I can't be.
Oh, sorry about that. I was filming it on my phone. Because you really feel like we experienced something really, really special here. And all the fans and all the teams sang the anthem. A really special moment in motorsport, you'd have to say.
Valentino Rossi celebrating with Gabashera there, his new crew chief, taking over last year, and what a difference it's made. To find himself at the front of these races again after such a tough time with the manufacturer that's either side of him with Ducati. Ducati's success was a long way away with Casey Stoner back in the years, but to see them both on the podium now